about the structure of sperm. Sperm are nothing but haploid gametes. Okay, thus actually in the NCERT book the structure of the sperm is given, which is very simple actually, but I'll be talking about for NEET. Obviously it is sort of complicated. You could see a lot of labeling, bit confusing, and I have written already so many things to save the time. Very simple. First we'll start with the parts. The sperm has three important parts actually. So you could see here, this part is actually called as the head. This is the head of the sperm, and this part actually is cylindrical shaped part actually called as the middle piece, and you could see a tail. Tail is nothing but the flagella. Okay, so because the tail helps in the movement of sperm. We all know that actually millions of sperms are produced during spermatogenesis process, which actually enters into the female reproductive tract and ultimately reaches the ovum, and any one sperm will get the opportunity to fertilize. Okay, so that is one thing here. So that means actually we need certain things in the sperm that has to penetrate the egg. The sperm should be a bit sharper. Correct. So you could see here the sperm is kind of like spindle shaped, bit sharper actually at the edges. Correct. So let us see all these parts actually one by one. I have written head here. Okay. So first of all, actually this is actually the head. What exactly head consists of? You could see that mainly head consists of a single plasma membrane. See, this is actually a cell, right? The sperm itself nothing but a cell. So you could see this is the plasma membrane. Got it? So this is the plasma membrane is there. Okay. So within the plasma membrane you could see the real cell actually. The cell in the sense the nucleus is there. What it contains? It contains chromosomes. How many chromosomes? 23 chromosomes. See, if the chromosome contains allosome, that is if it is X, the baby will be female. If it is Y, the baby will be male. That means the sex determination is mainly because of the type of chromosome, X chromosome or Y chromosome. So that is the thing to remember actually. Got it? Okay. So now here I have written nucleus here. And one more thing I just want to tell you that see here the nucleus is very small, because the sperm is the smallest cell in human being. The ovum is the largest cell in human being. That's one thing to remember. Nucleus is small because there is no nucleolus and nucleoplasm. No need of it because they are actually, the function is already set. The function is to fertilize and function is to deliver the chromosomes into the ovum. Okay, so they don't have nucleolus and nucleoplasm, making the nucleus very tiny. And then I have written here that acrosome, very important for your NEET. Actually the top of the nucleus you could see this structure. This is actually, you could see a small structure. I have used purple color. This is called as the acrosome. Okay, so acrosome has two layers obviously. So the one layer is already surrounding the acrosome and the other one is actually the plasma membrane. Correct. So that means it is a double layered structure. Okay, the double layered structure is also called as the Galea capatis. Remember it, the Galea capatis is actually the name. If you want you can remember it, otherwise leave it. Actually just remember it is the double membrane of the acrosome. But you have to remember the origin of acrosome. Which particular structure of the cell forms the acrosome? Actually it is the Golgi complex. I think I have not written here. Acrosome is formed by the Golgi complex. Golgi apparatus. Please remember it. You may get this one. Acrosomes are formed by Golgi complex. Okay, what is the function of acrosome? Acrosome helps in the breakage of the ovum wall. The egg wall is there, right? It will break. It helps to break the wall of the ovum because the acrosome contains two digesting enzymes. Remember it. You have to remember. One is hyaluronidase is one enzyme, the other one is the proteinase. Remember these two enzymes present in acrosome. Acrosome helps to penetrate the egg. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, so next we will move to the second part. This is actually very important part of the sperm because here the energy is stored. Energy is stored. You have studied about aerobic respiration in the previous year, correct? Aerobic respiration takes place within the mitochondria because mitochondria synthesizes ATP. So mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell. Here the entire cylindrical shaped middle piece is consisting of spirally coiled mitochondria. For example, see here, let us imagine this chalk piece as the middle piece, the second part. Okay, so here the tip of the chalk piece, the middle part, you could see here, this one. Okay, that is also like present within the neck. Neck is actually the second part, but nowadays we don't consider it as a part. Okay, so anyhow, so here you could see the tip of this particular cylindrical shaped structure. We call it as axonema. Everything is called as the axonema. That is present within the middle part or middle piece of the sperm. Axonema, no need of it. Okay, so here you could see that I have written proximal centriole. Anyhow, this is the head, right? This is the tail, that is middle piece, and the tail comes. Obviously the sperm should swim. That means it is because of the help of the flagella. Flagella means that 9+2 arrangement, that is PMCM, correct? Peripheral microtubules and central microtubules. The arrangement is 9+2. Remember it? I have written here 9+2. Okay. So here within this axonema, what you see is the proximal centriole will be seen. Okay. If you want, anyhow, it is not necessary for now. When I explain about the fertilization process, I will explain it about proximal centriole. It helps in the cleavage of the fertilized egg. Cleavage of fertilized egg. Once the sperm enters, obviously fertilization is done. Okay, but still actually you will see the proximal centriole within the sperm, which actually initiates the cleavage. Cleavage in the sense the first division of the zygote. Okay, so I'll talk a very interesting concept. We'll talk about it later. Just remember, if I forget this, just write down proximal centriole actually initiates cleavage of fertilized egg after fertilization. Okay, so now here you could see axonema. Axonema is a cylindrical shaped structure. This axonema is surrounded by the plasma membrane. You could see the plasma membrane. Okay, very thin plasma membrane, and this thin plasma membrane actually contains very thin sheet of cytoplasm, very tiny actually. Okay, so it's like this. If this is the axonema, this is actually the plasma membrane. You could see a very less gap actually. So that is the thin sheet, and we call it as mansheet. Remember, the mansheet, thin cytoplasm sheet that is surrounding the axonema. Just remember, not required actually, but okay. Now within the axonema you could see the mitochondria. Mitochondria produces ATP in the sperm. Okay, so for example, this is one mitochondria which is spirally coiled around the axonema like this. It goes like that. You could see here, right? See? So this is the mitochondria. Okay, so mitochondria provides energy to the tail for swimming. Just remember that very important point actually. Okay, and this kind of arrangement of the spirally coiled arrangement of the mitochondria is called as Nebenkern sheath. Very important for your NEET. Remember it. Nebenkern sheath means it is the spirally coiled mitochondria around the axonema of the middle piece of the sperm, which is called as Nebenkern. Because of the Nebenkern sheath, the sperm actually has a lot of energy, which actually helps for the movement of the sperm actually. So the tail can move, it can whip. As a result, the sperm starts moving actually. That is one thing. Okay, and here about the centrioles, there are three centrioles you see here. One is obviously towards the neck region, proximal centriole will be there, and just below that distal centriole I have written here. Distal centriole, not necessary. And here the base of the middle piece contains another centriole which is called as a ring centriole. Function is unknown, function is not known. Okay, so it is still not discovered actually. And then coming to the tail. Tail is a very long part actually. So this is the first part of the tail, and this is the end of the tail actually. So normal actually it helps in the movement. It gets the energy from the middle piece. So that's all about the sperm. Hope you understood this concept.